Hello everybody, happy Sunday. Today is Sunday that I'm recording this video. I just got out of church and I really had an urgency on me to come record this video. It's just crazy how the Holy Spirit works. I was in church, and as it was coming to an end, I was planning out my day and what I want to do today. And I had planned on going to Lenox Mall. I was planning on going to Zara, H&M, going to have breakfast. And I had a sudden urgency to record this video. And me, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do that after I do everything I want to do. I'm going to go to Zara, I'm going to go to H&M, and I'm going to go eat breakfast, then I'm going to do this video. But what usually happens is I'll do everything I want to do, and by the time I get back to deal with what my spirit is telling me to do, I'm too tired, I don't want to do it, and I'm all full, and I don't want to be on camera, and it ends up getting pushed back and pushed back. So I brought my little self home, and I'm gonna record this video. So just a forewarning, this video may or may not be long. It depends on how the spirit leads me throughout this video. So you guys might want to check the timing at the bottom. If you can't watch the whole thing now, definitely watch it in parts. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. I'm not gonna say I get a lot of messages. Since I started the Young and Christian series, I probably got 2 messages about the video length, about people having issues with it. So I don't have a hypothetical gun to your head to make you watch it. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. So this video is just gonna definitely be a update video. It was really put on my spirit to do an update video to the relationship video that I had called Conviction Wrecked My Relationship. If you haven't seen it, definitely check that one out. And yeah, excuse me. So like I said, this video is just going to be an update video on the relationship video that I did a few weeks ago. And I'm really happy to, and I'm not going to say to finally get to record this video, but to be allowed such a calm spirit to record this video, because that video got the most amazing response. And I really thank God for every woman and man who reached out to me and let them know that that video touched them. I thank you guys, and I'm so excited to share what's currently going on. So ever since I made that video, I've come into contact with a few people, even people who were already my friends, who were going through their own situation that God is bringing them out of, and people I didn't know who reached out to me and, you know, let me in on what they were going through. And I just really want to tell you guys to really trust the process. Trust the process of whatever season that God currently has you in. And it's so important to trust the process, because when we don't trust the process, it's so easy to turn back around and go right back into the sin that you just got delivered from, or currently getting delivered from. Are you in the midst of your deliverance? It's so much easier not wanting to hurt through the process that we go back to what we think feels good. We go back to what we know. We go back to what's habitual sin. And in that, you're actually hurting yourself more than going through the process that God has laid out in front of you. Because even, for example, even if I was to go back to the relationship that I got out of, or even if you were to go back to the woman or man that God has been telling you to leave, the process that you're supposed to go through is still gonna be there. It's still gonna be there. No matter if you're gonna go back to this person, you guys are gonna be together for the next 2 weeks before God ends it again, or the next 2 years, or the next 2 decades. The process is still gonna be there. And Cornelius Lindsay of the Gathering Oasis preached an awesome message about running from the process, and I'll leave the link below for that video for you guys to check out. And when I was in the church service listening to his message, it really hit me hard, because even though he was talking about it on a larger scale, such as leading families or being in whatever process God has you in, it really hit me hard, because it hit my situation hard. What I was currently going through, I really related to it. So I really wanted to give you guys some key things that I related to it on. So if you guys are interested in running from the process, the message in a larger scale, again, I'll leave it below. So yeah, and I find that when I was in the midst of my situation and God was calling me out of it, and he was calling me out of it like hard. And I had a night where I really just prayed, and I really just got on my face before God, and I asked God, I said, is there any way possible that I don't have to go through this? Is it possible that I can wake up the next morning and this will all be over? You'll be ended the relationship and everything will be done and through. And I literally said those words. And all three of my best friends can attest to that, because I was telling them the same thing. I didn't want to go through it. And that's the thing about the process. It's not fun. You don't want to go through it. You want to find your way around it. You want to find your way through it. Just like when God was bringing the Israelites through the wilderness, he didn't bring them the easiest way. He brought them all the way around. And the path that God has for you, I can assure you, is way better than any path that you would choose for yourself. So this night I was really like emotional. I was crying. I was like, I don't want to go through this. And even though I loved this person, or I thought I was in love with this person, the wanting of not wanting to go through it really came more so from a selfish standpoint. I didn't want to go through it. I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to have to hurt him. I didn't want to have to hurt our families. I didn't want to have to answer to everybody. I didn't want to have to be embarrassed about it being over. I didn't want to have to do that. Now, mind you, in the sense of this prayer, never once did I say, okay, God, what do you want me to do? Which way should I go? It was about me. I don't want to be embarrassed. I don't want to have to go through Instagram and delete all his pictures. I don't want our friends asking what happened and, oh, you guys are supposed to be married. I didn't want to go through that. It was all about me. I don't want to go through this process, God. That what you want me to do, that's hard. I'm not doing that. So I had two options. I could either delay the process, or I could do what God told me to do and go through the fire and go through the fine-tuning and go through the pruning that God needed me to go through to get me wherever he needed me to go. So I finally, of course, cracked down, as you guys know, because you watched the other video, or you haven't watched the video. I finally did what I needed to do, and I ended it. And I really want to stop at that standpoint, and I really want to bring up the story of Jonah. If you haven't heard the story of Jonah, the cut and dry version is basically I'll read some of it. So if you go to the book of Jonah, if you go to the book of Jonah, chapter 1, verse 1, and it'll say, the word of the Lord came to Jonah, son of Amittai. Hey, it might be pronounced like that, it might not be. I didn't look that word up. And it says, and he said to Jonah, get up, go to the city of Nineveh and preach against it, because their wickedness has confronted me. However, Jonah got up to flee to Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. The funny thing, and you can read that story, you can definitely go from chapter 1 through 2 to chapter 3 and read through it. The funny thing about Jonah is, even though God told him to get up and go to Nineveh, or Nineveh, however you pronounce it, Jonah went the other way. Jonah was like, I'm not doing that. Like, I know it's dangerous down there. I know what type of city that is. I know they don't play down there. Basically, it get real down there, and I'm not going. He went the other way. But what's funny is, even though Jonah went the other way and he made plans to go the other way and he got on the ship, God made it to the point that Jonah had to get tossed off the ship, thrown into the mouth of a big fish. Some people say a whale. Whatever he was thrown into, and he was there for 3 days Jonah still ended up having to go to Nineveh. He still had to go. So not only did he waste his time running away from what God told him to do, he ended up still having to go. So me staying in that relationship, or you staying in that relationship or that friendship with that girl or that guy that God is telling you you can't be with, that God is telling you that I'm trying to elevate you up here, and being with this person, you not gonna elevate to nowhere. You gonna always be, it's gonna be a push-pull. You're connecting an ox to a donkey. The donkey is stubborn. The ox wants to progress. He wants to move. He or she wants to move. He or she wants to get to know God. But you're connected to a donkey that's stuck in his or her worldly ways, and that's not going left, that's not going right, that just wants to sit in sin, that just wants to sit in fornication, that just wants to sit in lying, cursing, gossiping. They want to sit there. They're comfortable there. They don't want to do anything else. Their heart is hardened towards the word of God, towards the way you're supposed to live. They want to stay where they are. So, and when I heard this story, because I heard the story of Jonah when I was a young girl, and I saw the cartoons about him being in the whale, but I never understood that even though Jonah ran from God, like some of us have been running from God, like I was running from God, he still had to do what God told him to do. He just delayed the process. And the funny thing is, some of us, we not only delayed the process, we just completely shut down with what God told us to do altogether. Because Jonah, okay, he made a mistake, but he corrected his mistake and he went to do what he was supposed to do. Some of us will get out of a relationship or a friendship that caused us to gossip, lie, fornicate, a friendship that wanted us to be up in the clubs and at the bars, or a relationship that caused us to fornicate. I'm sorry, a relationship that caused us to fornicate or sin against God in any way, and a friendship that encourages us to fornicate, and we'll stay in these friendships. And then on Sunday we'll sing songs like, okay God, I give you all of me, I surrender it all, I'm withholding nothing. But when you really get down to it and God gets you alone, and you know, you feel that conviction when you're in this person's presence and you know you're not supposed to be around this person, you're basically telling you, God, okay, I'll give you all of this, but this over here, this person, that's off limits. I can't give that to you. This is mine. Even though God is the creator of all things and everything is his, we hold on to things so hard. And we feel like we can hold on to these things, but I'm here to tell you, either way, God gonna take it from you. Because sometimes you get in a relationship or a friendship with somebody, and it gets to a point where they start to do things to hurt you so bad, things to the point where you're gonna have to let them go when you had the chance to voluntarily let them go. So that, when I was reading that and I really read through that chapter, that really, you know, it hit me hard, and it kind of solidified the path that I was going in life. Because we'll get to a point where we may come out of it. Let's say, for instance, me, I came out of my relationship and I'm like, okay God, I ended it, I did what you want me to do. But don't get to a point where you end a relationship, or you end a friendship, or you get out of a situation that you know God has called you out of, but you don't let it go. For instance, for me, in the first, I will say the first week of my breakup, yeah, it was over for me, and yeah, I let it physically go, but emotionally I was still checking his Instagram, I was still checking his Facebook, I still was like wanting to see what he was doing. Like, is he already talking to somebody else? Who is that leaving comments? Who is that leaving emojis? I was still doing that, and in the midst of doing that, it really you're not really letting go, because you're still holding on to the emotional baggage from that. You're still checking up on this person, and I guarantee you, they ain't changed. If they been flirting on Instagram and they've been flirting on Facebook when y'all were in a relationship, they still doing the same thing. So you hopping on there, you just hurting yourself further, and you're still delaying the process that God is trying to do in you. I really charge you, every time you want to check your ex's social media, every time you want to text them, every time you want to call them, I really charge you to just start praying. You have to get in the habit of denying your flesh and really taking up God about it. Like, as soon as you feel yourself about to do it, start praying. And it's crazy to me that God has to really be your first thought before you even text your best friend, before you even text your mama, like, please pray for me, I'm having urges to really just get at this person again, or I'm having urges to really stalk them online. Really bring it before God, because I promise if you get in the habit of bringing it before God, he will begin to fill those God-sized voids in you that's not going to be filled by anybody else. Because just as somebody else can pray for you, you have the ability to get on your face before God. And we have to remember, just like another story that really comes up, when the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, and God wanted to destroy it. It was a city of sin against God. It was abominable behavior, and God was bringing Lot's family out. He found favor in Lot's family, because even though this sin is going on around you, I see something special in you. God sees something special in me. He sees something special in you. And your relationship could be like a Sodom and Gomorrah. Your relationship, my relationship was a Sodom and Gomorrah. Not particularly, not everything, but the sin that was around me, the sin that I was being introduced to, can be related to that. I was in the environment of sin. It was around me. So God, when God sees favor in you to bring you out of it, and he told Lot's family, you know, in Genesis chapter 19 verse 20, verse 26, this particular verse that stuck out to me was Genesis 19:26, and it says, basically, as they were coming out of Sodom and Gomorrah, but Lot, when they say but his, they're talking about Lot, but his wife looked back and became a pillar of salt. Basically, Lot and his family were traveling out of Sodom and Gomorrah. They were being delivered from that, and his wife, you know, this was what she knew. Let's say, for instance, she had friends back there. She had her worldly possessions back there, and she looked back. But God was delivering her out of it. There was no reason for her to look back, and we do that as humans. And that's why when you have people who